Let us speak plainly of power, not the gaudy power of crowns and proclamations, but the true, silent power that shapes our age. You are told you live in a digital empire, a kingdom of limitless information, and yet you feel its limits daily. A password is forgotten, and you are locked out of your own life. A traffic grid seizes, and a city chokes. A new virus emerges, and we scramble for years in the dark for an answer. This is not the mark of true dominion. This is the mark of a ruler trying to manage a vast, chaotic kingdom using a single, incomplete map. The source of this weakness is the very foundation of your world, the bit, a flickering switch, a 1 or a 0. On or off, yes or no. It is a language of absolutes in a universe that speaks only in probabilities. It is a tool for clerks and accountants, designed to tally and to store, but never to truly understand. It forces the glorious, messy, ambiguous complexity of reality into neat, binary boxes. And in doing so, it leaves almost everything of real value. The swirling dance of molecules, the secret patterns of disease, the hidden shortcuts through impossible problems, outside its grasp in darkness. Your classical computers are magnificent engines of this logic. They are fast, they are precise, they follow orders with flawless obedience. But they are, in the end, unimaginative. To find a secret key, they must try every door, one after another, in a labor that can span the age of the universe. To model a single protein, they must painstakingly calculate each tedious interaction. They are like a legion of loyal but plodding soldiers, marching in a straight line through an infinite labyrinth. Their strength is also their fatal constraint. Now, look deeper. Beneath the orderly facade of your silicon chips lies the true state of nature. The quantum realm. Here, the familiar rules of your world dissolve. Here, a particle is not a single thing in a single place. It is a spectrum of possibilities. It can be here and there. It can be spinning up and down. It is a coin perpetually spinning in the air, not as a trick, but as its fundamental state of being. This is not a flaw. This is superposition. This is the raw, untamed potential of the universe before it is forced to choose. This is nature's infinite strategic ambiguity. And this is where we find the qubit, the quantum bit. Do not think of it as a better bit. That is a failure of imagination. The qubit is an entirely new instrument of power. Where your classical bit is the loyal foot soldier, the qubit is the master spy, the oracle, and the general all at once. It does not merely hold a 1 or a 0. It holds the relationship between 1 and 0. It holds the ghost of every path not yet taken. When you place a problem before a system of qubits, you are not giving it a list of instructions. You are, in essence, allowing the problem to map itself onto the very fabric of reality. The qubits enter a dance of intertwined possibilities, a state of entanglement where the fate of one is instantly, mysteriously, linked to the fate of all others, no matter the distance. This is the critical lesson. Power does not lie in the possession of the answer. Power lies in commanding the field upon which all possible answers exist. It is the difference between being a player on the board and being the one who paints the board, who defines the rules of the game. Your classical world spends all its energy evaluating individual possibilities, one painful step at a time. The quantum domain evaluates the landscape of all possibilities simultaneously. It does not compute its way to a solution. It lets the solution emerge, like a shape condensing from a fog of potential. This is the power that comes from aligning your will not with the rigid, man-made logic of the binary, but with the fundamental, fluid logic of nature itself. The clerk uses the tool he is given. The prince understands that the only tool worthy of a ruler is the underlying principle of creation. To master superposition and entanglement is not to build a better calculator. It is to learn, for the first time, to speak the native language of the universe. And he who holds the lexicon holds the keys to the kingdom. Consider the great challenges of your time. The slow, plodding search for a new battery that does not fail you. The decades spent in trial and error to design a life, saving drug, watching a generation suffer while you guess. The fragile, Byzantine web of global logistics that snaps with the slightest shock. The silent, invisible war where digital fortresses are slowly, inevitably, besieged and breached. You have been taught to see these as walls, immovable obstacles, problems of such profound complexity that they defy solution. This is a failure of perspective. It is the mindset of a besieged city, watching the enemy camp grow on the horizon. I wrote that fortune is like a violent river. She shows her power where men have not built dikes and embankments to restrain her. Your great problems are not walls, they are rivers. They are torrents of complexity, currents of data, floods of interconnected variables that overwhelm your classical tools. Your response: you send your engineers, your supercomputers, to build a higher levee, a faster pump, a more intricate system of canals. You fight the river on its own terms, with brute force and endless labor, and for a time you may hold the line. But the river's power is fundamental, geological. It will find the weak point. It will overflow. The cost of maintenance is eternal vigilance and exhausting toil. This is not strategy. This is servitude. This is the core of Keynote 2. Fortune is a river to be diverted. A true prince does not merely react to the force of fortune. He does not stand before the flood and simply try to withstand it. He studies its source. He maps its deepest channels. He understands its nature so completely that he can, with a precise and ruthless application of leverage, divert its course entirely. He turns the destructive force into a generative one, channeling it to irrigate his fields, to power his mills, to drown the fields of his rivals. The problem is not the river. The problem is the poverty of your imagination in seeking only to block it. Now, bring this lens to the quantum realm. What is a river of fortune in our age? It is the river of possible solutions. For a new material, it is the near-infinite combinations of molecular structures. For a complex financial model, it is the tsunami of market variables. For breaking an encryption code, it is the ocean of possible keys. Your classical computer stands on the bank of this river, trying to taste every drop with a single spoon. It is a task of such absurd, tragic scale that the river might as well be infinite. The quantum processor is the divine geometry that changes the landscape itself. It does not stand on the bank. It is dropped into the headwaters. By placing a problem into the state of quantum superposition, you are not testing individual drops of water. You are, in a very real sense, creating a perfect dynamic model of the entire river system within the quantum state. The qubits, through their entangled dance, represent the interconnectedness of all possibilities. The algorithm you run is not a set of instructions for searching. It is a carefully designed interference pattern, a resonant frequency that you pulse through this quantum landscape. Think of it as the precise detonation at the canyon wall. You are not fighting the water. You are using a fundamental understanding of physics and terrain to carve a new channel. The river's own immense power, its relentless flow, does the work. The quantum system uses the natural tendency of quantum states to evolve and interfere with each other. It amplifies the probability pathways that lead to the correct answer and cancels out those that lead to dead ends. The solution is not found. It is revealed as the most powerful current in the newly directed flow. Where the classical world sees an insurmountable problem, a river too wide to bridge, the quantum perspective sees a source of untapped energy. The very complexity that crunches your supercomputers into obsolescence becomes the fuel for the quantum engine. The encryption that would take 1,000,000,000,000 years to break becomes a lock that clicks open in an afternoon, not because you tried every key, but because you shaped the very metal from which all keys are made to form the correct one. You have stopped being the engineer frantically sandbagging the levee. You have become the architect of the watershed. You command the flow of fortune. You are no longer at the mercy of the problem scale. You have enlisted that scale, that very complexity, as your most powerful ally. This is the diversion of the river. This is the transformation of a threat into the foundation of your throne. Listen to that sound, the patient, probing click of a lockpick in the dark. It is the sound of your current security. A game of clever mechanics, of hidden levers and false gates. It is a game that assumes the thief has only his hands, his tools, and his time. But what if the thief could simply ask the metal of the lock to remember its own shape, to whisper the exact arrangement of its pins? The game, then, is over. The very premise of the lock is annihilated. This is not an improvement in lockpicking. This is a revolution in the nature of security itself. And it begins with a fundamental truth from the halls of power. Keynote 3. It is better to be feared than loved in the realm of computation. Consider the edifice of your modern world, your financial networks, your state secrets, your private communications. They are all guarded by magnificent digital fortresses. Their walls are built upon problems so difficult, so mathematically tedious, that it would take the combined lifetime of stars for your fastest classical machines to solve them. You trust in this slowness, you love this encryption, you find it comforting, elegant, reliable. But love, as I have noted, is a bond that is easily broken by self-interest. When a new, more powerful machine arrives, when a cleverer mathematician finds a hidden flaw, that love turns to dust. Your security is based on being liked by the limitations of current technology. This is a profound vulnerability. Now, introduce the quantum computer into this equation. Its first, most dramatic act on the world stage is not one of creation, but of demolition. The algorithms it wields, Shor's algorithm, Grover's algorithm, are not mere tools. They are instruments of terror. They look upon these towering, intricate mathematical walls and do not see a challenge. They see a structure built on sand, a puzzle whose solution is not found by working through it, but by questioning the very reality it is built upon. A quantum machine of sufficient power could reduce encryption that would take 1,000,000,000 classical years to break into a task of hours. This is not a faster lockpick. This is a tidal wave that washes away the entire concept of the beach upon which the fortress stands. And this, you must understand, is where the fear begins, and the fear is the point. The old order must be made to feel this terror viscerally. It must see the specter of its own irrelevance, for it is only from this terror that a new, more formidable order can be born. Fear, unlike love, is a currency that never devalues. It is a constant, chilling reminder of consequence. But the true Machiavellian prince does not merely wield the weapon of fear. He builds his citadel upon it. This is where the quantum realm offers not just destruction, but a new kind of dominion. Enter quantum cryptography and, specifically, the principle of quantum key distribution. It does not build a taller wall with a more complicated lock. It changes the substance of the wall itself. Imagine a message sealed in a container so delicate that the very act of an enemy looking at it, of measuring it, irrevocably changes its state. It announces its own violation. The spy is not discovered after the fact. His presence is the alarm. This security is not based on computational difficulty. It is not a plea for privacy. It is a command, backed by the unbreakable laws of quantum physics. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and quantum entanglement become your loyal, silent sentinels. They do not negotiate. They do not have backdoors. They enforce. This system does not ask the interceptor to be kind or to respect the rules. It makes his task physically impossible. It inspires not love, but a deep, rational fear of even attempting a breach. This is the new hierarchy. At the bottom, the classical systems, hoping their complexity will be loved and left alone. In the middle, the quantum destroyer, feared for its power to shatter that hope. And at the top, the quantum cryptographer, whose security is as absolute as a law of nature, feared because it is immutable and just. The relationship has shifted from a plea for cooperation to an imposition of physical law. You are no longer hoping your lock is too complex to be picked. You have engineered a lock that melts in the hand of any but the rightful holder. The fear it inspires is not of punishment, but of futility. This is the ultimate power, to make your rival's tools not just ineffective, but meaningless. To command a respect born not of affection, but of the certain chilling knowledge that some doors are not merely locked. They are woven into the fabric of reality, and to touch them without the key is to be unmade by the universe itself. Men of weak spirit see only the labor. They tally the cost of the marble, they fret over the dust that chokes the lungs. They count the countless hours of thankless toil, and they see only ruin. They see the shattered fragments on the floor, the broken chisels, the hands bloodied from the work. They declare the pursuit too costly, the means too brutal, the outcome too uncertain. This is the mindset of the merchant, not the prince. The merchant balances ledgers, the prince builds legacies, and this brings us to the final and most consequential principle. Keynote 4. The ends justify the means. Look upon your quantum endeavor now. See it not with the eyes of an accountant, but with the vision of a patron of the next age. The critics will present you with their ledger of horrors. They will point to the machines themselves, suspended in vaults colder than the void between stars, demanding a kingdom's ransom in energy just to keep from dissolving into noise. They will mock the qubits, these fragile, skittish things that lose their divine state of superposition if so much as a stray photon whispers against them. A problem of such profound delicacy, they call it decoherence, the great forgetting. They will list the billions spent, the years consumed, the false starts, and the dead ends. They will wave this ledger before you and say, see, the cost is too high, the path is absurd. These are the means. They are the price of admission to a new world. They are the marble dust, the broken chisels, the cold workshop. To focus on them in isolation is to miss the shape emerging from the stone. You must train your sight on the ends. You must see the finished sculpture before a single blow is struck. What are these ends? Let us speak not in abstracts, but in the hard currency of dominion. The end is a world where disease is not a siege to be endured, but a puzzle solved at the molecular level before it ever takes root in a body. We are not searching for a drug. We are simulating the precise dance of proteins and pharmaceuticals with perfect quantum fidelity, designing cures tailored to the fabric of an individual's life. This is not treatment. This is sovereignty over biology itself. The end is the silent mastery over the material world. It is the design of superconductors that work in the warmth of a room, revolutionizing energy and transport not through incremental gains, but through a fundamental rewrite of the rules. It is the creation of catalysts that pull fertilizer from thin air, ending the geopolitical stranglehold of scarcity. It is the engineering of new materials, atom by atom, for a world we have not yet even dared to imagine. The power to simulate and synthesize matter is the power that built civilizations from the Bronze Age to the Silicon Age. The next leap will be quantum, and it will be absolute. The end is an unassailable throne in the digital realm. A network secured not by ever more complex algorithms that may one day fall, but by the iron laws of physics, where a spy's very glance is his own betrayal. It is the end of digital theft, of silent espionage, not because we have better guards, but because we have changed the nature of what it means to possess a secret. These are the ends, a transformation of human health, wealth, security, and capability so profound it relegates our current age to the status of a primitive prelude. This is the sculpture within the marble. The cold, the cost, the fragility, the immense and grinding difficulty, these are merely the necessary conditions. They are not pleasant, they are not cheap, they are not easy, they are simply required. A weak leader looks at the daunting means and abandons the glorious end. A prudent prince understands the calculus of history. He knows that posterity does not remember the dust in the workshop, the weight of the treasury spent, or the complaints of the doubters. History remembers the David that emerged from the stone. It immortalizes the vision that dared to see a masterpiece in a raw block, and the ruthless will to pay the price to reveal it. To flinch from the necessary means, no matter how extreme, no matter how alien they seem, is to voluntarily surrender the future. It is to choose the comfort of the ledger over the immortality of the legacy. The pursuit of quantum supremacy is not a technical challenge to be balanced on a spreadsheet. It is the brutal, beautiful, and necessary labor of giving birth to a new world. The cost is irrelevant. The outcome is everything,